Howdy, y'all, and welcome to another electrifying episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup, over there in Big Sky Country, Texas, home of the Dallas Stars, and also the place where Stallcup Electrical Education was founded. He is the CEO, and that is the best publication you will get anywhere online, or if you want to get the code change. Here we go. Already coming in. Dun, 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 dun. Daniel's already lurking. He's ready to get the quiz on you. But no, tonight I have a really easy quiz, so I think you guys will like it. It's probably one of the easiest ones I've got yet, so James should have no problem with it. At least get it on his second answer, you know. But I really appreciate all the participation I had. Nat King Code. We had a really awesome meet this week. It was so much fun. I learned so much. There was some stuff I learned I didn't even know, and a lot of the inspectors enforce some of this stuff, and so that's how I kind of use it. I get it from the inspectors. I get it from the guys out in the field, and you know, old Daniel's got my back, man. Avs are still alive, baby. Go Avs, man. So yeah, we're still alive, man. We coming back here to Denver. We'll see. You know, it could be tough. We got a few ab killers on there with Duchesne and Pavelski. So you know, like I say, we got to stop the ab killers from scoring on us. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, I mean, it could be if all we have to do is just open it up and just make it a barn burner and just start lighting the lamp across the board and see. You know, if we end up winning like 9-8, then that's what we got to do. You know, but we'll see. It's a lot of fun to you know, do playoff hockey. I love playoff hockey. I don't care what team wins or loses. I just love it. I love the competition of it. I love the intensity of it, and I love how everyone plays, and it's so much fun. But you know, like this week, I got kind of an interesting meme that I'm running. It was just one I ran across and add a little something to it, but I think you'll like it, James.
I can't wait. You know, it's funny because you called me yesterday, and Dad and I were just sitting down to eat, and I said, "Hey, man, they got playoffs tonight. Let's watch the playoffs." And we're sitting there watching it, and I think it's second period to when it was the Stars and Avs. Anyway, that Stars guy come across, and he hit that Avs guy. And I mean, he knocked him completely off the skates, you know, or forecheck or whatever y'all call it. And Dad goes, "That shit legal?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "God dang." He said, "They hit like that." He sat there and watched a period, never watched hockey before, and he goes, "Man, those guys are knocking the hell out of each other." I said, "Yeah, that's why people like watching it."
I'm telling you, the playoff intensity is just so ridiculous. And like, you look at like the Rangers Canes series, like the Rangers were up like 3-1 on them, and now Canes crawled back in it too. So, or they were up 3-0. So you know what I mean? Like, that's what's crazy about that too. I think that series is continuing tonight, and the Nuggies play tonight. Go Nuggets! Everyone out there, you know, hope the Nuggets close it out tonight, man. Take it home and get back into the third round again. But
before we go any further, I'd like to take and sort of show some of the new illustrations.
All right.
That are coming out. We've done quite a bit, and seems like everything is really taking off right now and looking really good. But
is this the grounding and bonding?
I'll show that. This is just a couple that are coming out that will show some of the new hazardous location that's been done.
Nice.
And they've actually done this, showing where you have your release valves and everything, and where you come in and pump from the top, and then you've got where you do your release. So at the bottom, they drew all the connection devices here and everything, and then they took and showed the support for the pipe. But those others that are at the bottom of the tank, that's actually how they tied into the ground, but it's also used for bonding. So,
Wow, I really like how you show that illustration because basically that 5 foot area around uh, that tank
mhm.
inside tank area is your class 1 div 1. That's a real good illustration. I like that.
Sure, we show the liquid level there, letting you know it's class 1, div 1, and then we put
Mm-hmm.
right up above it anything inside that tank is. And then we did another one here, and I thought this is pretty cool, and you're going to see this on a lot of things coming up. But you'll see that we've got now where we've drawn like this here is a sensor here that's in the
Mm-hmm.
middle on the pipe there. So we'll have sensors and everything there. We've done transmitters, uh, done all kinds of new equipment so people can see this. We've gone
Yeah,
in.
on that last one, if you go back,
Mhm.
anything ran on the outside of that tank within that caged area is going to be class 1 div 1 too.
That's right. And we show all that where the valves
Nice.
and everything are on the piping. And then
Yep.
we've done here, this is sort of, you see them now. Are you seeing the gas pump?
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is one of
Oh
our,
no, you didn't switch illustration. Sorry, my bad.
oh, it's not showing the gas pump right now. Okay.
You got to switch one more slide. Sorry.
Okay. Let me redo that because I have to.
Sorry, that was my bad. I shouldn't have made you go back.
Oh, no worries. That's why I was
Because
asking just to be sure.
you flipped to the gas pump, then it didn't go back.
Okay, now is it the gas pump?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are some of our new ones here showing the gas pump and everything, just like everything's new, and
Nice.
we show the seal offs and everything in your separation methods. It just really goes in, and then we did where we have the intrinsically safe device, and this is what your device would look like, and you'll see on one side of it, it talks about non-intrinsic safety, which is on the right hand side of that device, and on the left hand side is your intrinsically safe device. So
Okay.
we've gone through and tied all this in. We're even showing the new types of equipment like you would see out in the field for hazardous location type equipment that would be feeding
Right.
that equipment with intrinsically safe circuits. We
Nice.
even show if you do it where you got an alarm system set up and running through the different types of equipment.
Nice.
Let me go forward here because we got some other good ones. So we took here and we show an isolated power supply, and we actually show you, we put it in a dotted line up at that top right. That's what your isolated power supply would look like at where you were doing those lighting systems rated at 30 volts or less. So
Nice.
it's giving everybody a good look at what you would actually see, you know, if you're out in the field. How would you go about applying this? You know, if we got a lighting
Nice.
system here at 30 volts or less, you could have a swimming pool, a hot tub fountain or something, and we're showing you to be 10 foot away from those low voltage lighting systems, and then we show the isolation transformer that's feeding that. And
Yeah, and you need to make sure your AC unit's 10 foot away too.
yeah, and this just gives you, and if you look at this, we've also come in and we've done the talking about the different type of systems, and then we go through and show you what the transformers look like out in the field. So
Right.
you look up at a utility, this is sort of what you're going to see, and you know some of it
Right.
is one line diagram, and then we'll
Nice.
show it where it's going 4160. But as you can tell, we've really redone everything in here. So
Nice.
this gives everybody a little bit idea of that. And let me
Yeah.
stop sharing here, and I'll show some of the grounding here. And I think
Okay.
people will really like what's coming. Matter of fact, we're hoping to be done with the grounding book come Monday, and it'll be sent up. So probably around Tuesday, Wednesday, I might do it at the end of the week, but I will have it on PDF for sale, so people can come in and look at the grounding. Now, what I'm going to show you where I'm starting here is where I'm at right now, doing the changes to the grounding,
Okay.
and we will have uh, these updated as we go. So these are showing isolated receptacles, but you can see we're coming in and we're showing you all the grounding and everything, and showing you the color. Like we even get in where you're going into a computer here, and we're showing you how to set up and have a radio ground for your high frequency, and how you
Okay.
go about grounding this stuff. And it's interesting when you look at that, because you'll see right here by the panel there, you're going to see where we're showing connections to an isolated bus bar. What you're going to
Mhm.
see is as we create that radio ground around that, we're not going to any other type of ground outside that. All them grounds and everything are going back to where? One point.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
called the triad out in the patch.
Yeah. We used what they use out in the engineering standards, what they call it.
Nice.
So we show you, if you have a race 4 here, how do you go about grounding that and bonding it all in and tying it back.
Nice.
So you can see we even come in, we redid this illustration on the swimming pool and everything, making sure everything's bonded in. I mean, it just
Wow.
goes on and on and on. So it,
That is that your dad? We go back. Is that your dad's satellite dish?
yeah, no, I'd say that's not his. Uh, But as you look at this, you'll start to see where we're going in. We do different type of boxes and stuff through here, showing you how to
Okay.
go and ground it. We show you how to
Nice.
do, if you got a DC system, you're feeding a processing piece of equipment that's DC that gets converted over. We show you just as you go through this, and if you look at this, look how we go through and we set everything up and showing you different colored wired systems. Like we're showing you up here where you set a separate drive system up, and so you're going to 12208, but you fed it with 277 480. We're showing you all the
Right.
connections, everything going everywhere. Then if you were just going to one panel, that was 48277. So,
Wow. That's what's so weird about that last one?
so
You actually show the service point. It's right
oh yeah,
there, right at the weatherhead. There's your service point.
oh yeah, we
Wow,
go
it's a
through.
location. Okay.
That's right. And if you look at everything here, we've really done a lot of coloring to so you can see the grounding and everything that's required here. And uh, I haven't seen too many. Well, I haven't seen any publications that actually walk you through every bit of this and go through and show you all the colored wiring and everything that it's going to for the different type of systems and how you go about grounding everything. So, and
Nice.
even like this, we're showing where you go to motor circuits, and you can see here, we're showing you taking the ground over here, and you've got your control unit set up here, and got the device in it and everything. We're showing you all the wires and everything, how it's all connected. I mean,
Nice.
we've really done a ton of work on this, and
So, I wanted to let you know there was like a few people that said they were gonna post up stuff that was better than yours.
they
It's
never
coming.
did.
So, no, you just gotta wait. It's coming. Just trust me, okay? They promised. These guys never break promises, all right? So,
Hmm.
I'm just telling you, it's coming. You gotta be ready for it. When it gets here, then you can't be surprised, all right? Because it's coming.
I've been asking for
Anytime.
3 years now, and they've never
Well,
posted one thing.
no, like I say, they promised me like a little while ago, so it's coming. All right, I just want you to be surprised.
Well, I can tell you there's going to be a big thing that's going to go out with our publisher and everything over the grounding. And I will say this, I didn't even pull it up because I hadn't made changes yet.
Because
But
somebody's gonna be proven right.
yeah, uh, I'll give you a little insight. Hey, Jeremy, remember when you said that the source book stated so and so? Well, that's being taken out. And how do I
Nice.
know? Because I talked about I talked. Somebody called me because they had a question on 70E for the note under table 130.4 DA and B that talks about the 3,000 foot that you had to take care of. They wasn't totally sure about it. They understood it, but they want to know why they did it. And I sent him over an illustration of our transformers. We actually do it at 3,300 foot. And I said, that's where it come from. And he goes, so you show how to calculate that to get the amperage? I said, oh yeah. So I sent him everything, showed him how you do it step by step for every 3,300 foot, and sent him over how to calculate that amperage. And I said, from there, you can go in and help determine what you're going to have in order to determine what that arc flash would be. So, and also determine what your limit approach and restricted boundary were going to be. And then as we were talking, I was telling him we were coming out with a new ground stuff, and he told me, yeah, he goes, we just updated I just updated the source book. And I said, oh, really? I said, I got a question for you. And I told him, I'm not going to go through it all. And he goes, yeah, I think I took that out of there. He goes, I'm glad you brought it up. He goes, I'll go back and check it. He goes, but what you're saying is 100% correct. So I guess he was referring to the industry experts. You saying you're smarter than them, well, they're changing it now. So
can't use the table. Can't use the table.
It just writes itself, baby.
I love it. Love it. All right, let's roll the meme. We're running out. Running out. Come on, Daniel. Join the resistance. Resistance is futile.
My favorite part of that is the people in the crowd going, oh. That's funny. I like that one.
Dude, we all have this joke where like everyone always has these like stories where like, oh, I just got hit by 277, and we have this joke bunch of the dudes do on all the groups, and it's like, oh, I just got hit by 20 million ohms, you know?
Oh yeah.
And we just joke around like
that.
That's
funny. I like that. That's a good one there. All right, yeah. Let's throw down the topic of the week.
Or no, it's myth.
Myth of the week. I'm getting excited to go over the new topic.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right, we have a great myth for you this week. So this started, one of the guys on the jobs called me, and they're like, hey, do we have to scrape the paint off to put this ground bar in? And I'm like, no. I was like, as long as you're threading it in there. And they're like, well, you know, one of the guys said we have to scrape it off every time. I'm like, nope. I was like, that's a myth. And so then I was like, all right, myth of the week is going to be a true statement. So non-conductive coatings such as paint, lacquer, and enamel on equipment to be grounded is not required to be removed if the metal is tapped with machine threads maintaining 2 threads of contact. That reference is 250.8, saying that is an approved method, and you're able to do that. I don't know where 250.12 came into this, where it says that you must remove paint and varnish unless otherwise unnecessary. But this would be one of those things where it is unnecessary. And so I really like this myth. I thought it was really funny. A lot of the guys say that you always have to remove the paint, and you know, a lot of guys say, well, just just do it just so the inspector can see it. Well, the inspector can't fail you if it's not a code violation. So this one was a really favorite one of mine. This right here is a perfectly code compliant picture. In here, there's no paint removed. You use the screws that hold the ground bar. Your grounded conductors and your grounding conductors are tied to the same bar, which is perfectly code compliant. as long as that's a service entrance, first means of disconnect, or some way that is going to be not 250.6 violation. And so I really appreciate James jumping in on this myth. Like I say, this one has been argued a lot out there, and I think the biggest problem is a lot of the inspectors just read 250.12 and just think that the paint always has to be scraped. I'm not going to mention names, but there was some people out there that said the paint always has to be scraped. That is 100% incorrect, and so this myth is, this actual statement that I have up on the board is a true statement, so that would bust the myth that you always have to scrape the paint. But I'll let you expand on that, James.
Okay. I want to go back on something else real quick before, because I'm going to tie something in that was previously with this right here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that's I've been arguing with them on the groups, it's always the same guy, those ECD boys, but they said that the NEC overrides the manufacturer's instructions. There's testing procedures that are put together, and of course, Jeffrey Bauer, he lied and misquoted what you said. You know, he made the statement that you said that the code is nothing but a companion standard. And
well, I said supporting document.
Supporting document, yeah, well, same thing, companion. And that is not exactly what was said. When you look at the testing procedures that are used for the different types of equipment, they create those, and those become an ANSI and an ASTM standard. Okay? Sure. And when they do that, they even state in there that they take into consideration the national codes. That can be the National Electrical Code, the Canadian Code, whatever. They have to take those into consideration. So if I was looking at this illustration right here, they didn't remove the paint, and they take and secured that with machine threads that made at least 2 threads of contact. Would that be in compliance with the standard in the NEC?
Well, I'm going to take that a step further and say that if I'm that UL evaluation body, I'm going to say that metal of that enclosure is going to have a thickness that's going to allow for 2 threads engagement, so I don't have to second guess myself. I don't have to inspect it. I just know that when I see that UL sticker on the right side there, I know that thickness of that metal will ensure 2 threads of contact on that tap thread.
And that's interesting that you brought, because I was going to say that. That's actually in the code, the thickness of the metal.
Yep.
Now,
sure
let's look at another part of this. If I'm looking at that and I've got all my connections there, where do they get the ranges in order for them to know if they're turning an L bin in there, or making an S or a Z bin, that they got to have those clearances so far away from where they're making their connection? Would I happen to be looking at 312.6 A and B in the code?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I've been saying this whole time. You know, you look at the code, there's a lot of stuff in there that gets into, you know, you've heard me say this a million times. The code is a design and installation standard. I've always said that. And that
not manual. So don't get him wrong by saying manual. Standard, not manual. It's not an installation manual. It's an installation standard.
Yeah, it's an installation standard.
Because, like, you think about if you were to go and take that enclosure and then just shrink it by 6 inches there, you'd push all those grounds into that bus bar, and you'd push that edge of that panel board enclosure to where you don't have enough bending radius to terminate to that overcurrent device.
That's right. And
that's all standard, that you have to have the bending radiuses for all that stuff.
Sure. And that's why that the testing procedures that they use, they have to consider the National Electrical Code, Canadian Code, whatever, that they're trying to get their listing and labeling. They look at those items. And that's why I've made this argument for a long time. You just can't pick and choose when you want to take and try to apply something. And this is just a good example right here.
Just to say that, like, my whole statement was based on the UL listing. So like the Canadian code would be a supporting document.
Sure.
The NEC would be a supporting document, but they wouldn't be an overriding document for anything because they're the standard that sets that. That's the standard you have to conform to.
Sure, I'll give you another example. Say this was hazardous. What would they consider at that point? You would be looking at the NEC. You could be looking at Canadian. You could be looking at the API 500. You could be looking at API 505. You could also take and be looking at NFPA 496, 497, 499. You see what I'm saying? Or let's just say it's a custom-made piece of equipment. What would I look at then? Well, now you got NFPA 79 plus the National Electrical Code. So say this picture here, for instance. Say this was custom-made. Would I need to concern myself with the NEC when I'm doing this design? Sure you would. Sure. And you'd also look at NFPA 79, especially if it's industrial control equipment. Okay?
So I'll kind of take this. Yeah, and I'll kind of take this a little further too, James, on that is, like in this picture, none of these lugs are torqued. They don't have torque marks on them. So an AHJ can enforce that and say that he wants to enforce 114.d.
Sure.
And say that he wants to see those torque marks. A lot of guys just put the torque marks on there anyway, but a lot of times, like when you get into those straight blade ones, a lot of people are like, well, I don't torque them because I don't even know what the torque value would be. Well, it's 50 inch-pounds, and that's basically as tight as you could get it by hand.
Right.
So that kind of stuff is not an excuse to just not follow the NEC.
That's right. And, usually I don't even look at the myth till you send it over and I get it ready that night because I'm so busy with other things. But I actually was tagged on this. And so,
Sorry about that. Sorry.
well, usually I'll get tagged on something and, it's one person that when my name is getting tagged 4 or 5 times, I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on?
Bill started a dumpster fire this week.
Yeah. So I went over there and I was reading what was there. And you had like Jeremy Lee, Jeff White, I think Bauer was on there. The same old guys that argue about anything that you put on there. But, well, let me rephrase that. They argue anything you and I put on there. If it's Paul or anybody else, they're not going to say nothing. So
the problem with them is that they don't argue it. What they do is they take our words, they twist them to make what we're saying wrong, and then they argue what we said as wrong when we never said that. You know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's weird because like I never said that. That this was the myth. You know what I mean? I'm saying this part could be busted the myth. So whenever, just a big shout out to everyone out there that follows Nat King Code the way I do the myth of the week. You guys don't know where the myth is actually at. Like, I don't put it as this is the myth is over here. The myth is over here. I just basically, every time I see these myths, I put them out there. And they could be true. They could be confirmed. They could be busted. Like this week, it's kind of an opposite thing because I actually posted the actual code language that would say that you don't need to remove that factory paint. Well, there's all these guys out in the field that are saying you have to remove this factory paint. And so those guys are the guys I'm busting the myth on. So that's how I've always done it. James knows. He knows how I've always done it. And
oh, yeah.
They're acting surprised now after 3 years, 2 years,
You go in and a myth is a myth. It don't matter if you're trying to prove it true or false.
True.
It doesn't matter. And this was a good example because right here it tells you if you got non-conductive coatings and they tell you such as what? You got paint, lacquer, and enamel. And it's on equipment to be grounded or bonding shall be removed from threads. Now, if you're going into the metal tapping it, let me help you out a little bit. There's nothing there to remove. Okay, you're making metal to metal contact at that point. But what it says in other surfaces to ensure electrical continuity. That's what I'm trying to say. And when I first heard it, you had called me right before I started answering everybody. And you asked me about it and everything. I said, well, if it makes electrical continuity, it's one of the methods accepted over in 250.8A. I said, you're good to go. I said, that's the end of discussion there. And
I kind of wanted to get your interpretation too, because I never heard, like, to me, 250.12, technically, there a lot of that language is just to ensure continuity of raceways. Like, I don't see a whole lot in there that says anything about scraping the paint to put a lug on there. Like, a lot of people read into this stuff, and I think they're misinterpreting it.
Well, sure. And if you look a little further, it says, or shall be connected by means of fittings designed to make such removal on it. And they were, I was sitting there reading something, and they were saying, oh, well, that's not a fitting. Oh, no kidding. Because
fittings have to be listed.
Yeah, I was like, you're making direct metal to metal contact with it. What I couldn't understand exactly what it was they were trying to argue there. But then I said, well, let's just take a look and see what it takes you back to. So if you have main bonding jumpers and system bonding jumpers, it tells you you're permitted to provide that connection by one or more of the methods and where. 250.8. Okay. And then if you go over and look here at 92B, this is methods of bonding at service. And looky down there at number 1, bonding equipment to the grounded service conductor by what? One of the methods in 250.8A. It ain't talking about scraping any metals or anything like that. It's just telling you, if I took those threads and they engage at least 2, then you have a permitted method there for bonding it in. Then if I look here at 250.102B where my bonding jumpers are, looky there, it takes me right back to 250.8. And then if I look at multiple circuit connections, the exact same thing. It tells you that you can terminate each equipment grounding conductor to what? Based on 250.8. Then if I come look at 251.48A and I'm looking at my equipment grounding conductors and attachments and boxes, it tells you that you can use one of the methods that are set here in where? 250.8. Then if I come and look at 250.8A, here's all your permitted methods. And the one we were looking at that was in the question was 8A6, and it says exactly, word for word almost, thread forming machine screws that engage not less than 2 threads in the enclosure. And that's why they're taking you all the way back to 250.8A and all them examples I gave, because they're giving you the permission right here to do so.
And now, you folks just went on a James Stalcup code loop.
That's right. And and believe it or not, you'll go in and you'll look at our code setup and everything in our publications. And if we're showing the bonding permitted methods, we will have all them sections there, and you go pick them up, and then you can see the referral back that's giving you the permission. So, that's one of our code loops.
And just so you know, that was not James's opinion. That was exactly what the book says, and it takes you all back to 250.8A6.
Yeah. I mean, it's word for word. I guess my reading comprehension isn't good, is what they tell me.
Oh, dude. That was a good one, man. We stomped him. So, myth busted. You do not have to scrape the paint as long as you tap and thread it.
No, you don't. You don't. All right, let's get ready for talk. Got a really interesting topic for y'all this week.
All right.
Anybody that read the intro and everything will know what it's about. So I hope everybody enjoys this. the topic this week. Now, what I'm going to do is we're here pretty soon. We're going to start having guests on, and I'll just be doing this periodically throughout the rest of the year, and probably will have most of them all done by the time the end of the year gets here. But
Okay.
I'm going to start giving an early preview look at 2026. And
How many of my sweet public inputs are in here? No, I'm just kidding.
I have no idea yet. I hadn't got that
All right.
far. But
All
what I am doing is I'm going through, starting with Article 90 and 100. And then
Nice.
as I'm going through it, then I'll go through 110, and then I'll get into Chapter 2 and do Article 200, and 210, and 215,
So-
220, 225, 230, 240, 250.
So is the special guest gonna be your dad?
We'll probably get him on. We're also going to get Mike Barr on.
Nice.
May get somebody else on. May get Mark come on.
Nice.
I'm just going to have a lot of different guests. I know a lot of people in the industry, and plus it's going to give me a break. 'Cause,
All right.
I mean, just the last since the first of the year, I mean, we've been full go getting journeyman master exam prep going. So doing all the
if you're gonna be on the show, it doesn't give you a break from my stupid questions. So just giving you a heads up on that. James was like,
I think I can handle it.
yeah. I know.
All right, now let's take a look at this. Is the first one, and this is 90.7, and it gets to dealing with examination equipment for safety. And what they did, they took out the last sentence to 90.70 here, and then they took out a few of the other things here in the second paragraph. But all they did is refer you to 110.3C, and basically taking that out and including 110.20, 110.3C, they basically are telling you that there wasn't in place where you had a mandatory requirement covering who performs product certification and how the product certification is aligned with the NEC. Okay?
Hey, and just a big disclaimer. None of this language has actually passed yet. This all has to go through a bunch of stuff before it's actually confirmed. But we're just saying what potentially could happen if everything passes. So I just want everyone to know this is not passed language yet. This could pass. It hasn't passed yet.
And what this is, anything that I'm showing you has already been accepted for the first revision. Now, some of this could change a little bit, or they could just say, no, we're just going to leave it the way it is. But as of right now, this is what we're looking at. So we'll see what happens, And the great thing is when we get all this done and the second revision comes in, we'll go back and we'll check to see if any of this changed or anything. But from there, we will get everything done. And by the time we'll probably start the next October, but we'll start going through all the changes that were passed and what is the clarification and meaning behind them with the substantiation from the committee. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So basically,
so are we just doing 5 of these tonight?
No, there's a few more.
Okay, cool.
So and by them adding 110.3C in here and doing that referral, therefore what that ended up clarifying here is like that last sentence there in the first paragraph, that language was no longer necessary, and therefore they could delete it. So, and if you go back and look, they added 110.3C in the 2017 code. Okay.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit with this one, just for the fact that every time I get like a piece of equipment, a factory installed integral wiring, I always check it to make sure it's done right. We've had times where it had neutral tied to hot and neutral. You know what I mean? Like where you just look at it, you're like, wait a minute. You know, it doesn't need to be inspected, but we inspect it. You know.
Yeah, I always check my stuff just to make absolutely sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now this is not really a huge change here, but it was needed, and let me explain why. Because if you go in and look at the 2023 code, it I'm sorry, the 2020 code, they changed it in 2023. We used to look at this and we used to call this a high impedance grounded neutral system. Now they just call it an impedance grounded system. Okay. And so when they did that, they come in and they created an impedance bonding jumper, and they're just telling you that this is a connection. It's in an impedance grounded system between the equipment grounding conductors and the grounding electrode side of the impedance grounding device. And we actually took and we actually show where you have, we actually drew a digital impedance device and show them where that connection is and how you go about bonding everything in. Okay.
Okay.
So we have that put in. So that is something, and you're going to see that the definition here is making sure you understand that this is a unique, as they will call it, bonding jumper that carries what? It carries that fault current at a level less than determining where. Table 250.122 and tying it in with table 250.102C1.
Wow, and then we just learned about that 250.102C1 with the 250.66. So wow, they all work in concert.
And if you remember, I've always said this. When I go in and I'm teaching grounding, I teach two parts. I teach the load side and the line side.
Yeah.
And what you want to remember is if you're on the line or the load, or say the line side, we'll start the line side, where you're coming into the equipment and everything, you're looking at table 250.66 and table 250.102C1. And if you look at those two tables there, other than the top of it, the items it's mentioning, the sizing is exactly the same. Okay. But if I go in and look at the line side where I'm supplying equipment, that's going to be where? That's going to be table 250.122, and you start sizing everything from there. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the load side.
I mean the load side.
So, yeah, they call like the supply side and.
Yeah, I call it line and load side.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a good way for people to remember.
All right. Now, this is interesting. I hadn't noticed this until I started going through doing this, but they got, this isn't the only definition here. Okay. And they're telling you what a cable tie is. And I think this is pretty interesting because they got an informational note there, and it's telling you about the different type of cable ties and cable ties that you have and what their designations are. Okay. So when you look at a cable tie, it'll tell you it's a band or length of material employing a locking device, and it's used for bundling, securing, and or supporting cables, flexible conduit, or flexible tubing. And then if you come down and you look at your types here, if you have a 111, 2, 21, 2S, and 2IS are evaluated for use in cable management applications. And if I have just 2S and 21S, they're evaluated for securing and supporting cables, flexible conduit, and flexible tubing. Okay.
Hey, so William Kurtz asked if Super 33 is acceptable. I don't know. I don't think so.
No. All right. And then look at this. You got a cable tie fixing device. Okay. And they tell you it's a component such as a block or bracket specifically designated to secure the cable ties to a mounting surface. And then you'll see you get the exact same type of designations here for the different types of support methods you're going to use, but they're just telling you what a fixing device is. So there is a device that you use in order to secure the different type of methods here. Now, then they've got another one here that they call it a cable tie integral device. And they tell you it's a single component as produced that incorporates a cable tie and a cable tie fixing device that are not separable. So it comes as one unit, okay? And you get the exact same types and everything.
Dude, I think Willie Jackerson actually invented that one.
It's really neat.
It's a 2-in-1. It's a 2-in-1. Easy day.
Easy day. That's right.
Yeah, it's an easy day connector.
But look at that. So now we've got 3 different definitions for the different ways that you can go in and use cable ties now.
Wow.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. I hadn't seen that, And as I was going through these, I was like, that's actually pretty interesting. That's actually probably an important change, so people know what types you can use or what type of designations are for.
My favorite code making panel 12.
Yeah, now
we're gonna have such fun this year, code making panel 12.
Well, watch what this says, and there's a few definitions here on this one too. This is electric self-propelled vehicle, all right, and it tells you a vehicle or marine vessel other than an EV, such as farm equipment, boats, aircraft, and golf carts, primarily powered by an electric motor that draws current from a rechargeable storage battery, fuel cell, photovoltaic array, or other electric current. Okay, so we're telling you this is what a self-propelled vehicle is. Okay, now watch this. Now you come in and it talks about electric self-propelled vehicle power export equipment. All right, and they tell you this equipment, including the outlet on the electric self-propelled vehicle. Now that's interesting because they're telling you the outlet is on the vehicle itself.
Yes, they do. Which is correct.
That is correct. And I remember them arguing when you saying they told you there's no outlet on the vehicle. They said that's just you giving an opinion. Well, here is a new definition 2026 that's basically saying they're full of crap. Okay? So, and they tell you that it's used to provide electrical power at voltages greater than or equal than 30 volts AC or 60 volts CC to loads external to the ESV, using the vehicle as the source of supply.
Which is the utilization equipment.
That's right.
Yeah. 100%.
It's the source of the supply. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. All of this is coming to a head, I think is what's happening. Now, this one is electrical self-propelled vehicle supply equipment. Let's see what it says. Equipment for plug-in charging, including the ungrounded, grounded, and equipment grounded conductors and electric self-propelled vehicle connectors, attachment plugs. Oh, look at here. It has a personal protection system. Oh, okay. And all the other devices. Oh, looky there. Have I brought this up before and said, what is a power outlet then? Remember me putting that on them? And they just ignored that. And it says, or apparatus installed specifically for the purpose of transferring energy between the premise wiring and the electric vehicle.
Yep.
Now, that's interesting, but I want to see what the informational note says here. Electric self-propelled vehicle power export equipment and electric self-propelled vehicle supply equipment or wireless power transfer equipment are sometimes contained, you got to be kidding me, in one piece of equipment, sometimes referred to as bidirectional ESVSE or bidirectional WPTE.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's happening now, some of this stuff is really starting to get out there. All right? Now, the committee has stated here, the term outlet is already defined. The definition has been updated to improve clarity. Now, let me explain this one. This actually, when you go in and you look at the supporting things that are in there, the references for other public inputs that were submitted, this is one here where they went in and made a change. Okay? Now, everything that's in green's new. Anything that's in red has been struck out. Now, when you go and you look at this, Don Gennari submitted a proposal, and he basically said where the branch circuit connectors are connected to, or they connect to a device. Okay? Right. And they referred him here, and they referred him over to lighting outlet. And he put the exact same terminology for receptacle outlet and lighting outlet, and did it for outlet, and it was rejected.
Right.
So what they're telling you here is you have an outlet. Okay?
Hey, James, I'm going to stop you right there, man. They knew all those were going to fail.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing. They told us that submitted proposal was going to provide clarification. It was going to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to call it the stall cups and then get it rejected.
Mm-hmm. But when you look at this, they're telling you an outlet. Okay? They're not saying a point or anything like that. They're telling you there's an outlet here. Okay?
Yeah, it's installed.
And it says where the branch circuit conductors are connected to one or more receptacles. And basically they're telling you that it's already, you're providing your connection right there inside the outlet. Just like if I have a lighting outlet, they didn't even change that definition. And it tells you right there you have an outlet, and that's where your branch circuit conductors are connected, and they're going feeding the lighting equipment. It's not, the outlet's not at the lighting equipment. And see, that's another thing that gets me, is they'll come around and they'll say, oh, if I go over to the AC unit, the outlet's right there at the equipment. Well, why is it not over here at the fixture then? That's utilization equipment. No, it's at the box. That's where they're telling you it is. You know, and they're not saying that the outlet's inside the lighting fixture. They're telling you that it's connected to conductors that are there at that box. Okay? So there's been some change here. And basically, they said that the outlet was already defined, and they just updated this definition here to provide clarity, and they rejected everything that Don Gennari stated. Okay?
Nice. Like it.
Now, then they turn around, and this is the last one for tonight, but they added a whole brand new definition of a wiring device. Okay? Now, let's look at this. An electrical device that serves as either a connection point to facilitate the flow of current, or as a control device in general distribution and branch circuits. Now, what it's telling you here is when I make a connection, if you're going to say for an outlet, I go over there and that's my point where I'm going to draw my current. Well, why are they telling you here then electrical device is what facilitates the flow of current? And the reason is because the box is the outlet. The device is what's giving it to you. Now, another good example of that was brought up, it was a proposal you submitted, and it stated in there the receptacle and outlets that supply utilization equipment, they have to be installed beforehand. It says has to be installed. And they say, well, it's only installed once the EVSE's installed. Well, really?
Yeah.
If I have a receptacle out there, are you telling me that receptacle's not installed before?
Yeah.
I can have a receptacle out there installed, and I can plug into that. That has been installed. I might not even plug EVSE into it.
And it would be the same way, like if you had like a hardwired, like we did this out at some of the places where we actually put like J boxes out there, and then once they go put the EVSE in, then you just connect to the EVSE, so that an outlet's already installed.
That's
and
right.
then once you install the EVSE, then you just go over and tag it in, and then so actually in all actuality, those conductors that are just capped off that aren't tied to anything, that's a EVSE outlet.
That's right.
Then you hardwire to it, and you hardwire. You go take that ABSE. You just take the box off. You just put it right over top of it, and you hardwire it. There's no outlet, in my opinion.
That's right. And
and
I think
just
that ties in real
it.
good with the new definition. It's just like the one they had there. It said it already comes with personal protection. If it comes with personal protection, why do you need more personal protection?
The reason is because it's not their personal protection. It's not 4 to 6 milliamps. And that's where the argument comes in. That's where we've been getting attacked, because we're advocating for 20 milliamps personnel protection as adequate, as sufficient for life-saving technology. Basically, the theory is that if you have some kind of fault in the system, what's going to happen is that fault is going to open the overcurrent device prior to human contact. They don't like that. They want the overcurrent device to open with human contact. And there's not many things that are compatible with that, because once that device sees the leakage current, it just automatically trips. James knows this. I've been almost on this mission to test every single thing that's not compatible with Class A protection, and it's a lot of stuff. I mean, I have a long list of stuff that's not compatible, and some of it's elevator cab lights, and when you see elevator cab lights, how much they draw, James? Maybe a tenth of an amp.
Yeah, but not a lot.
And then what we ran into too is we've actually found LED drivers that aren't compatible with each other. Mm-hmm. Regardless, not even with Class A protection, just this driver won't work with that driver. And that's ridiculous to me. I've never ran into that before. Hey, should we just call out these manufacturers and say they better fix their drivers, or else we're not buying their lights anymore? I mean, that's how ridiculous these people sound with this Class A protection thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, to me, honestly, I want to see a change in the industry, and I feel that the Class A protection is really not the way to go about it. I think, Class A protection works good for certain things. I just think that we have to selectively coordinate our personnel protection. I think Class A is good for this group of things, and GFPE is good for this group of things. I mean, just to give everyone a little lesson that I learned, me and James learned, and James probably knew it, but the window unit that's in every hotel and in every unit in every house has GFPE. And there's not all these desks that everyone's talking about with GFPE. The manufacturer provides GFPE, and these things are safe. A lot of people think those are Class A device. They're not. They're 20 milliamp. Just like what we're saying is be code compliant for personnel protection, which is what James says about the UL listing and with this testing equipment, with all this stuff. They're considering 20 milliamps to be industry standard based on UL. That's fine, and it doesn't align with Code Making Panel 2 saying 4 to 6 or else get out, and that's not going to happen in 2026.
Show me all that documentation for all these window units that are sticking out of the window, getting wet and everything. Where are all the desks? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I can sit there and argue all day. They can say, "Oh, you just want to kill people." No, I don't want to kill nobody. That's a hell of a thing to say to someone.
It is.
You have to look. And then they turn around and say the manufacturers need to get their crap together. No, they don't. They don't have to do anything. They're meeting the UL standards.
They're like, they're too cheap to. They're too cheap to fix their equipment. How are you gonna be if you're running a business and you're building James Stahl Cup bicycles, and I'm like, hey, your bicycles are making people go too fast downhill. We need you to put different kind of bearings in there. You don't have to do that. You want your bikes to go fast downhill. If they can't use their brakes, you don't have to put a warning label on there or nothing.
Yeah, you want to be crazy?
Got King James has the fastest downhill bikes there is. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Just keep going fast, James.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty good, and I'll have some more for
Yeah.
next week till I start setting up all the guests for the rest of the year. So
Awesome.
anyway,
No, I
I
love
thought
it.
that was pretty cool going through that
Good-
stuff. I like doing
Good
it.
topic. I didn't get none of mine in there, but it's all good. Well, we got definitions coming.
They're coming. All right, let's do
Roll the
tool. Yeah.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
All right, big shout out to my group, the Electricians Only Tool Review group. You guys all gave me this idea for this. I ran into this on job site too. We are actually testing our lights now with this inverter, and I love it. What we do is we go plug a battery in, crank up the whatever voltage we want, 24 volts, 120 volts, and then we fire up the lights, we test them out, make sure they're all working, make sure our dimming's working, and we could do it on the ground, we could do it anywhere we want. And then this is like one of the really coolest tools. I'm actually getting a DeWalt one, so that's probably going to be the tool review for next week. I'll probably go get one, and then I'll test it out on the job, see how it works for me, so I can give you guys some real-time things about how good it works. But what's so awesome about this is that they incorporate like an overload protection. So if you're like powering up too much lighting load, then it'll actually give you an overheat, overload, and then you know that you're actually running too hot on amps. And that's kind of a good thing too, because then you might overload the driver, you might overload the lighting control device. So you kind of have to know that when that's kind of part of testing them. We test the dimming and everything when we're doing it. So it's really cool. I really love this. And, I'm sure Daniel's over there. Daniel loves the red things. And, Daniel likes to turn the lights on for the customer. So, I think Daniel knows about this. What happens is, you don't even have power yet, and Daniel just goes and plugs in his Milwaukee red inverter, and then says, yeah, everything's working great, what's up? But it might give you the overload, Daniel, if you try to power up too much, so you can't save your boss on that one. But no, we really love this. It's a really good product, and it has the little hook on there, so you can kind of hook it on things and stuff, and hang it up there, put it on top of stuff, and I really love it. I mean, that's the actual model that I've been using. But like I say, I'm going to check out the DeWalt one next week. So if you guys are big on red, go get this one. If you want the yellow Decker, stay tuned. I'll have it for you next week. So
Right, cool.
Appreciate you guys joining. So, dude, you'll love this question, man. I got a lot of hate mail for this question.
Oh, really? All right. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Built-in password. Oh yeah, I think we actually had this in our code change book. I think it was 422.16B2, I think. And I know it was 3 foot. I can't remember if it was 5 or 6.5. God, I'm guessing here. It should be more than 5, so I'll say A. I think it's 6.5 foot. I don't remember exactly, but I know it has to be at least 3.
Oh, James, you are correct! Awesome. I can't believe you got one right out of your own freaking code change book. But
I couldn't remember exactly. You're right. I mean, I've written so many damn questions, and I knew 3 foot was there, but I wasn't sure what the other was, because when you get in the compactor, it's a different length than what the dishwasher is. So that's why I was sort of guessing there. That's okay.
Well, like I say, I put together probably the most easiest Willie Quiz ever. So Daniel, you better be ready to go because it's time for Willie Quiz.
Cue it up.
You are now entering the zone of the Willie Quiz. Enter at your own risk.
What-
All right. So what's that?
What's the quiz on this week?
It's I piggybacked on last week. So I was kind of hoping that Rising Rhino would join us again, but it doesn't matter because, like I say, you and Rising Rhino tied, so you guys had it right. So I mean, it is what it is. But this week we're still doing NHL. So last week you and Rising Rhino correctly answered that the Detroit Red Wings had the most shutouts all time of any hockey team. So how many shutouts did Dominic the Dominator Hasek have in 2001, 2002? Good luck, everyone. Oh, is it A4, B5, C6, D7, E8? Good luck, everyone.
Okay, considering I don't know a damn thing for sure on this, and I will ask, was this during playoffs or is this for the whole season?
Yeah, so this is just during the finals. So this is only
Are you talking
So
about
16 games.
16 games? Okay.
Or 16 wins.
Okay.
But there could have been a lot more games because whatever, however many the series went.
Okay. Let's see.
It was more than the Avalanche, and it was more than the Lightning.
I'll go with. I have no real idea. I'll just say D. That sounds like a decent one. Apparently,
D7?
He must have had quite a few shutouts.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, to be number one. Oh, Daniel goes B. Oh, Daniel. Hey, Daniel. That's crazy. James goes 7. Oh, really good answer, James. What would be your second answer if you were to have a second answer?
B.
Dang it. All right. So, James, you are correct. It is B5 on your second answer. So, good answer, and you copied Daniel. So, Daniel gets the first correct answer of the night. Awesome job, Daniel.
I literally know nothing about hockey. That's everything. I'm trying to rationalize every freaking.
Yeah, it's a good one. It was a little rough.
Yeah, let's see what we got the next one.
You'll love this one. It's super easy. So the 1984-1985 Edmonton Oilers led all teams with blank amount of goals scored in a playoff series. Is it A, 40? Is it B, 44? Is it C, 48? D, 50? Or E, 51? Good luck, everyone.
Okay, was this just against one team for one series, or for the
Yeah,
whole
so
playoff?
no, so this was one series against one team for one playoff series.
Okay, so it means they must have done pretty good. So
And it was the Chicago Blackhawks,
if you
if
played
that helps
against a
you.
team, you got 4 games if you won all 4. So you might could have went to a fifth if they did good. So
Oh, Daniel comes out of the gate. Dude, Daniel, see, oh man, James might just copy you. And
I was actually
Daniel,
between C and D.
Daniel always has the right answer. Seems like he might be Googling some stuff, but I don't know. We'll see if that's...
I'll go with D.
D50.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Daniel is locked in at C 48. James is locked in at D50. And drum roll. You're both wrong. The answer is B 44. Got you guys. Oh, awesome, man. I love getting you guys, man. So
I was
much
sitting
fun.
there trying to add up just how many goals you could get in 4 days. They probably won.
Well,
all
no,
4
it could be 7. It could be a
What?
7-game series.
Man, that'd be if you scored that many goals. In
I think one game Gretzky scored 8, but I don't know. I don't know if he scored 8, but I'm saying like the Oilers scored 8, but I don't know. But I thought that was an interesting stat. All right,
Before
so
you read this, a hat trick's where you score 3 in a game, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
So in the 2021 Colorado Avalanche had blank number of hat tricks during the playoff year. So this is like the whole entire year. This goes from the start of the season to the end of the season, not including playoffs. So was it A, 6 hat tricks? Was it B, 7 hat tricks? Was it C, 8 hat tricks? Was it D, 9 hat tricks? Or was it E, 10 hat tricks? Good luck, everyone. And
so a whole year.
And as a side note, Nazem Kadri had 2, and he's just one player on our team. He had 2. He beat the whole entire NHL that year. I think the whole entire NHL. So he tied the whole entire NHL. The whole entire NHL had 2 with all their teams put together.
Okay.
So Daniel comes out the
A.
gate with
I'll
A,
go
dude.
A.
Good answer, Daniel. Daniel goes A. That's a really good answer, Daniel.
I'm gonna go D.
D9. All right, so Daniel, dude, why are you guys like so far apart from copying now? You know, like that's weird. James takes low. Daniel goes high. All right, I see how you guys are. So James, if you were to have a second answer, what would be your second answer?
Oh, I don't know. C.
C is correct. 8. Nazem Kadri had 2 of the other 6 of the Avalanche hat tricks that year, and yes, the Avalanche had 8 hat tricks in the 2021-2022 season when they won the Stanley Cup. And I'm actually wearing the shirt that I got at Game 2 of the Stanley Cup. So that's pretty awesome.
I had no freaking clue on any of those questions.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's pretty cool. You know, Daniel got one, you got one. You know, like I say,
I didn't get one.
Well, you got your second ones. You know, you're 100% second ones, but you know it's easy. But it's so much fun doing them, James. I like writing them. I like putting them together, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm not trying to fool you, or I'm not trying to fool Daniel, but looks like Daniel is the number 5th time ever freaking Willie Quiz champion against you. So congratulations, Daniel. Now you're going to have to start your podcast about how James Stallcraft has all the answers and pretends he does it and then makes you win. But it's all good. You know, we're trying to create all these podcasts about talking crap about me, James, and Daniel all put together in one, you know. So, dude, Daniel loves it. Like, he probably reads the comments on Facebook like, what the hell? Like, why is everyone attacking these guys so hard? Like, we're not doing nothing. You know, we're just having fun.
I'm 0 for 3. Yeah, dang, that sucks.
Hey, Daniel, you just broke James's streak. He had a streak all year with no zeros. I think this is your first 0 all year, isn't it?
It is first one all year. I pretty much have been 3 for 3 or 2 for 3 for the majority of them. Every now and then I get
Nice.
1 and 3, but that's the first 0 for 3 I've had all year.
All right, Daniel. Thank you for helping me confuse the king of answering. It's so much fun. I appreciate it, and thanks so much to Rising Rhino for joining us live. That was really awesome. We really appreciate it, and I always try to piggyback off different ones, but it means a lot to have guys jump in here. And if you guys want to go check out Sports Stream, go check out Rising Rhino on Twitch, Rising Rhino on Rumble, and Rising Rhino on YouTube Live. Awesome. But all right, we're going to the Wall of Shame picture.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Oh man, you're gonna love this one this week, man. This one, oh man. Yeah, so this is another myth that we're gonna have to probably cover. So this is actually a code violation to terminate these port connectors to devices. There is a specific way that you can terminate these two devices as long as the device is listed. This device is not listed for those fork terminals. And then on top of that, they said that they only crimped the rubber part or the plastic part of them. They didn't
really?
crimp the metal part of them, so they all just pulled out right the minute they pulled the device off. And so this is kind of one of the things I'll probably run maybe for one of the myths that were coming up. But these devices are not permitted to be used. These fork terminals are not permitted to be used to terminate stranded wire onto these devices. And they said they pulled a bunch of them off and they all did this. But that was Jason Eastman that actually submitted this. And you are correct, Jason. This was a code violation. So good Wall of Shame pick. And all hail the Wall of Shame fail.
All right.
Love it. Love it.
You mean we
So
didn't
thanks
go
a
2
lot,
hours
everyone.
tonight?
What's that?
I said, you mean we didn't go 2 hours tonight?
I know, right? Oh, we got out of here early. I gotta go watch the Nuggies, but dude, I'll tell you what, dude, I really appreciate you. Like the whole thing is like I'm not trying to be like holier than thou, saying I can't learn nothing. You know, everyone knows I could read. I read live online a lot. James reads online live a lot. It's just we're not reading the things they want us to read, you know. And
Right.
the thing is that a lot of these code guys, they're getting a little angry with us. And dude, I talked with the inspector for a while a few days ago, and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" I was like, "They want us to say this. Where's the outlet?" And he's like, "Wow." So then the whole thing was, I started telling him, I was like, doesn't the outlet have to be installed for the utilization equipment to connect to?
Yeah.
Like, how can you just have, like, utilization equipment disconnect? You know what I mean? Like, okay, where's the outlet?
I don't know how they get this Audi that just floats in infinite space.
Well, it has to. That's the only reason you need 4 to 6 milliamp protection. And that's been my complaint the whole time. That's been my argument. Like, why does it need 4 to 6 milliamps? What's the reasoning behind that?
Sure.
You know? And it was funny because Tommy D actually agreed with me. He's like, oh, yeah, I think it should be GFPE. I was like, dude, if it was GFPE, we didn't have this argument.
That's right.
And you heard Nihad, the submitter of the public input, he's like, oh, no, it has to be on everything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, well, that's cool. But you have over here. Sorry. All right, you have over here. You get right to the screen. And then you have over here. Has to be that's not a fine line.
No,
over here, you have GFPE. Over here, you have 4 to 6 milliamps. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine, but over here, it doesn't work. Over here, it does. You know, I mean, this is where I'm at. Make it work.
Well,
like, why does it have to not work in the name of safety?
I'm looking forward to seeing here in July the substantiation from different co-making panels. I want to see what they say, because I think that's going to change a lot of things, and it's just something we need to see. So,
dude, I'm gonna just ask him, what do we do if the equipment is incompatible with Class A device? What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? That's it. That's all I've been asking this whole time. The answer from them has been, don't install it. Mm-hmm. That's not an answer.
That's right.
Like, that's not an answer from NFPA. That's not an answer from UL. That's not an answer from anybody. Like, UL, if you told UL, like, hey, you guys spent all this time on listing and everything, we can't even install it in residential, they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, you can't install it in residential? Oh, yeah, it's a code violation. Like, what? A code violation? Like, how did we make a code violation when we're the ones listing that equipment?
Yeah, how is that?
You know, and they're like, oh, no, I guess it's killing people. Oh, really? It's killing people? Well, no, not really. We just went and made this stuff. You know? Like, I don't know. I mean,
hopefully everything goes correctly. Next week's podcast, I'll have links and everything to the new grounding book and the lightning protection book, and I will actually just sort of scroll through it and show everybody what it looks like next week. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this since first of the year, so major changes, and Dad's real excited about it. He says it's the best grounding he's ever seen out there. He goes, this is freaking kick-ass. So when he's saying it, you know it's good.
Yeah, 100% agree. If Pop says it, better listen. No, but the one thing is that I really love about it, we've already covered this in our myths. A lot of people are like, hey, how come they put this number 6 going to a concrete encased electrode out at a lighting pole? And that's because you really could use a number 8 if you wanted to, but the engineer's a dickhead, wants to use a number 6. But at the same time, actually, that is not covered by the National Electric Code. And me and James had covered that. And one of the myths that we actually freaking threw in there. And, wow, awesome. What's up, fam? Awesome. Thanks for joining. But one of the things that we actually ran into was, and James actually tied this into lightning protection, they actually do cover those light pole structures in NFPA 780. So that was really cool. Like, nobody's ever caught that. Mike Holt's not caught that. Paul Abernathy's not caught that. None of those educators out there has ever caught that. And I really thought that was really awesome that you caught that. It actually covered an NFPA standard.
Yeah, and, you know, it's like I've stated, you've heard me say this all the time. You have to concern yourself with all the other different standards that are out there, because there is a tie-in with everything. And, you know, just like that, there's a reason we took in our grounding, we added NFPA 780. When we go into our lightning protection for utilities, we have that over there in the utility book, which is the OSHA high voltage and telecommunications, because that's the utility side. But when we get over here in this one, we're looking at NFPA 780. But let me tell you this, what else would you want to consider another NFPA standard as it relates to NFPA 780?
Yeah.
NFPA 77, which deals with static protection. So we have some of that in there that is a standard loop that ties in with the 780 chapter. And that's what I try to tell everybody. Even when you go in and you look at our hazards, we tie you back in. Say I was dealing with purge and pressurized, okay? We're going to tie you back in with NFPA 496. If I'm dealing with combustible liquids and gases and things like that, we're going to tie you back in with NFPA 497. If we're dealing with combustible dust and stuff and flames, we're going to tie you back into NFPA 499. Then, if you're dealing with a combustible gas and liquids, we also tie you in where we have these standard loops. We also tie you in with API 500. And if you're dealing with overseas equipment, we tie you back in with API 505. So there's a lot of standards out there, and that's one reason, you know, you hear the ECD boys, they say I'm uneducated, all this, but what they don't understand, there's a reason we're hired by all these chemical companies, oil companies and stuff, is because we actually tie in with all the other different standards and show you the direct correlation with the National Electrical Code when you're doing the design and installation. Okay? So there's a lot to look at. I mean, and that's why I just list, you know, when I was arguing, does the NEC override manufacturer's instructions? I said no. I'd state, not only does it tie in with UL standards, it ties in with the National Electrical Code and any other pertinent standards that need to be considered for the listing, or for the equipment to be identified, listed, or labeled, which then again ties in with 110.3B of the National Electrical Code, which tells you your equipment has to be approved, which is 110.2, and then you go look at the definition of approved, and it's acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction. So and that ties right in with OSHA too.
Yeah, I want to take that a little step further, James. I really like that take. That means a lot, the way that you push it in. And I think that they're misinterpreting this. I think that there's nothing that's really overriding anything. I think all these standards are in concert with everything.
Sure,
you know, so I think they're all working together. Nothing's overriding anything. What they think is that you can use the National Electric Code to say that you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But in all actuality, every single standard is locked together, tight, and it's all the same thing.
Right.
So this is not overriding this is not overriding this. Nothing's overriding anything. It's all the same thing. It all means the same thing. It all locks together, and it's all the same thing. Like, you can't use that one single thing to be like all paint needs to scrape off all the time. No, that's not there. It's not a language that you can use. It's not. You could say, oh yeah, James is an idiot. That language is not, you know, it says right here in 250.12 that you always have to scrape the paint, and that's not true. You're misinterpreting the code. And then if you go look at every single other standard, UL standard, OSHA standard, all these other different standards, not a single one says you need to scrape the paint as long as it's threaded with that fucking compliance of 250.8.
I'll give
You know,
an
so-
example one. I did a class. I was doing it for IEI, and it's quite a while back. And I just asked a simple question. I said, if I have a gaseous material that's here, what is my distance out away from that material that classifies Class 1 Div 1? And
I'm going to
not
say
exactly-
10 foot. I'm going to say
Everybody's-
10 foot.
Everybody said 20 foot.
Yeah.
And they were thinking like if you had at a gasoline station, you know, you go out from the fume stuff. I said, no, that isn't correct. And I said, let me show you why. And I went through NFPA 497, and I was going through showing them how to take, I think it's table 4.4.1, if I'm not mistaken. And you go through there, and you got all your different chemical gases and everything that's there. And then you look at, you got your MSEG, you got your upper, lower flammable limit. So it depends on what type it is. It could rise, it could settle. I mean, there's a lot of different characteristics. Then you got your ignition points. I mean, you just go through and you start looking at all of this, and then there's certain things and formulas there that you calculate, and then you know, like we have a part in there where you have to calculate where it's going through a pipe. What's the pressure in that pipe? If I had a leak or something, how far is that going to spray? So they would take all of that in consideration. You may say, it may drip just this area right in here, no more than 3 foot. But if it's going to spray a long way, you may say that whole room is going to be classified. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what we used as like an engineering standard from distance from a valve is 10 foot. So what they figured was that 10 foot was the amount of distance that you're going to be able to dissipate a spark for ignition.
Sure, because they know what the pressure is. They're saying
Yep.
it's never going to exceed that. And that's what I'm
Yep.
saying. Those are the things you have to look at. And then you got your...
You'd probably be
little
okay with
everything
6
else.
foot. You'd probably be okay with 6 foot, but
Mhm.
you know what I mean? The engineer's like, nope, 10 foot, boom, 10 foot it is.
I may have
Dude,
to
they
do
were
a
they were putting
presentation on that and show how
yeah.
to do that, and actually show where you have mixture of chemicals and how you go in and you do it based on group in order to get your
Yeah.
classification. I can show that too.
I like it. Dude, I'll tell you what, like, there's so many people that's, like, reached out to me. Big shout out to Brandon Winter. Really awesome comments on the Myth of the Week this week. It's so much fun to do them, like, when people understand them and then people start arguing them and everyone's, like, arguing back, and then this guy's like, no, you have to scrape the paint, you know, and it's like, dude, nothing says in the code that you have to scrape the paint. If you're
right.
complying with 250.8, you don't have to scrape the paint. 250.12, I think I agree with you that it's like if you are not complying with 250.8, then you have that out where you could do 250.12, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But it's interesting because that's an interesting standard, you know? I mean,
That's why we do this.
yeah, and the whole thing is, Myth of the Week is busted! You don't have to remove the paint as long as you tap and thread it.
That's right.
So,
That
awesome,
is
James. Thanks so much for doing this.
All right, let's wrap her up. I'm getting hungry.
Hey, James. Game 6, brother. Game 6 going down. Going
They play
down,
tomorrow?
Game 6. Yeah.
Play tomorrow. Yeah.
Game 6, yeah, Friday, yep.
Well, then we should know by next Thursday who moved on and who didn't.
Yep.
Oh.
Good luck. Stars suck! But, I don't know who said that, was it? I don't know. I always hated the Dallas Stars, but, you know, like I said, I mean, it's all good. No love lost for you, James. Like, I know you got your Dallas Stars
I'm not
belt
even
buckle
a-
on.
You shit. I don't. I just, you know, I just saw a sport team because, you know, they're Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
But I don't really know anything about it. But don't be talking shit about my Longhorns and Cowboys. We got a problem then.
Oh, dude. And big shout out. We are going to be doing the live stream for our Monday morning coach. And so we'll be talking trash back and forth. Me and James will be talking trash back and forth on our teams, and I will support the Denver Broncos and whatever college team for I feel like. And so the cool part is I haven't picked a college team yet. James already has a college team, so if the Longhorns start doing bad, then I could go pick like the Minnesota, whatever, I could go pick whatever team I want. I could go pick. So I am the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, born and raised, so that's who I usually take. But we'll see. I'd really like to go for the Buffs if the Buffs have a good program. I like Coach Prime and stuff. So we'll see what we do. I would like to support the Buffs, and be Colorado CU. I work in that town, so I would like to be doing that, but I don't know. Like, if they don't have that good a program, I'd rather go fight an Irish, but it is what it is,
Well, the Irish are actually supposed to have a pretty good team this year, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they have some really good recruits this year, so.
My Horns are starting to have good teams, so I'm getting excited. So.
Dude, I don't even want to hear it. Like, dude, whatever quarterback you were talking about. So, you talked about two quarterbacks. A quarterback from the Texas Longhorns, and you talked about a quarterback from the Cowboys, and only one of those is still on their team. So, we'll see.
We'll
see.
I've said we need another quarterback for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You've heard me state that. But
hey, you guys still got Dak or what?
Yep, still got him. God dang.
All right.
We want so much more that we just went ahead and signed Zeke again.
Okay.
So,
dude, I liked Rush. Man, Rush came out. He was doing good.
I'd like them to give Trey Lance a chance. The guy they got from San Francisco. I mean, I think that's where he was, but San Francisco gave up picks to take him in the first or something, and I'm like, hell, give him a chance. Let Dak go, trade him, get some draft picks. Let's start young and start over. So,
ooh, Nuggets are getting whooped right now. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for that.
No kidding.
Really appreciate that.
That'll make that, if they lose that, that'll make it 3-3, won't it?
Yeah, we'll have to go Game 7 in Denver.
They're down 16 points at the half.
Oh, okay.
Is that 16? No. Let me get my glasses on. I can't read that small text anymore.
Yeah, it probably is. No, thanks for the update.
You're down 19.
Okay. Yeah, it's all good, Daniel. We won games by 30, but it's all
the Rangers
good.
Won. The Rangers are moving on. They beat the Hurricanes 5-3.
Boom! Thanks, my bracket. Oh, my bracket's saved.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was so worried about that one. I got Rangers Avalanche for the Stanley Cup.
Gonna be the Rangers and Stars ain't the burst your bubble.
All right, that's cool. No, I put together like a whole bunch of brackets, and every single bracket I put together, the Stars are eliminated against the Avalanche. But you never know. I could be wrong, but we'll see. The Stars pretty much have the advantage. You know what? Anytime. What I need to do is I'd be like, ain't the first time the Avalanche didn't get through McKinney, Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know where that's going. All right, let's wrap it up. I'm hungry. I'm ready to go.
All right, sir.
All
hey,
right.
Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining. Had a great time, and remember, make every day an easy day.
Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see y'all next Thursday.